Welcome to Innate Express Podcast. I'm Haig John, chiropractor in Melbourne, Florida. Our mission is to ground you in service and inspire you to serve at your very best. I am honored to share these live group recordings with you. Let's get started. This morning, in our little workout this morning, we talked about like our badge of honor. And Adam was wearing a shirt with the Green Bay Packers on the center. I had my Indigo Festival shirt on. And we talked about like what our identity is and how we cover up our heart very often with the badges we want people to see of us. And it's an important factor really to understand ourselves, is that this is who I want you to see me as. Because often we're trying to keep the world out from truly seeing who we are. Because we've had little wounds and big wounds in our life. It's easier to show that badge, and I wear it too, right? We have all our superheroes I mentioned earlier. Superman with the big Superman on the front. Aquaman. The old Aquaman, the new one, he's just got his shirt off. And, Batman, all that. This is who I want you to see me to be. I'm wearing the mask because I don't want you to see myself. Very often that's also hiding from ourselves. What are we hiding from ourselves? How can we truly be true to myself first? Because I have to be true to you. To serve you properly, I've got to be true to you. And being authentic from our heart first. And it's not always easy. If it were easy, then everybody would do it and we'd live in utopia. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's the wounds that we've carried through our life that we cover up. We cover up with whatever it might be, the things that we say, who we are, what the I am is, or what I want you to see it to be. It's easier to do it, I am the chiropractor, and I am the authority, I am the doctor, I am the CA, I am the mom, right? And we have to be those things at certain times, or the dad, I've got to say. We've got to be those things at certain times, but it's also the moments of vulnerability where we make the most change. And I learned those lessons myself, and I try to with my children as well. When I make a mistake, I apologize. The farthest thing I am is perfect. I don't know if I'll ever reach perfection, but I'm really working to touch the divine, which is the perfection. So the more that I clean myself up, the clearer I can communicate to God. As we're serving, as I said before, and I say all the time, the adjustment comes through us, not from us. The first person that made me realize that was Arnaud Bernier. And I've heard people say it, but I never really understood what that means. The words that we say very often are not coming from us, they're coming through us. If it's coming from me, it's usually not necessarily wisdom, if I have to think about it. Wisdom usually comes, those are the words that we hear, and they seem just like absolute knowledge. Oh yeah, I've thought about that my whole life, but maybe no one's articulated that to me before. I seem so absolutely correct that it's something we feel like we've already known forever. So as we get towards wisdom and clarity, things that we say on the table, remember, we don't have a lot of conversation here, but sometimes something will just come out. They just get a message. I need to say this to this person. They need to hear this. It's just going to come through us. The more we resist it ourselves very often, we can resist it and just be silent. Lately, I've been a little more chattery myself because, like I said, I've been going. You guys know I've been going. And then when I get a little more off purpose, I do more, which was really working. You called me out on it about doing the mornings, getting more intense with that, and then adding a Saturday. So it's not really about slowing down to nurture, my own weakness, but it's really to turn up the volume for myself so I can have more space and time. So if we just rest in our laurels, we're just going to get what we've always gotten. Eventually, I've got to have a vacation again soon, like a real one. Italy wasn't a vacation. We were working on stuff every single day. We did a lot of hiking, but we were really talking and creating space to come back and serve with. And Pam and Amy were wonderful at that. And then coming back and then serving, and then, having all this, and we're constantly working on growing. So for myself, I get a chance to look deeper within me. Especially the times when I'm the most tired or the most used up, I'm the clearer I am at who I am. Does that make sense? Because all the rest of the world, I just don't have space for. So we work a little bit harder. Not that I'm going to collapse, don't worry, but we've been striving forward. Eventually, I'm going to have to take a little vacation, maybe near the end of the summer, because we also have seminars we're doing week after next and then the weekend after that. So I can serve people better and then also serve students better and serve people in chiropractic better, which means I have to serve myself better. No one else can get better around me unless I get better first. So I'm always looking to improve. But that comes from knowing who I am. Ego, the word ego, if we look it up in the dictionary, means I am. And Pasquale always said people are talking about the alter ego, not the ego itself. And I say it this way, really, people mostly are talking about self-esteem. My self-esteem dictates me saying this because I'm trying to protect myself. Because the I am is saying I need protection. But when we know who we are, that I am really is what my reflection is to God. When he talks about the alter ego, is the one that's the negative stuff. All those things that we create the barriers really so people don't see our true authentic self. And we see that with a lot of teachers and coaches and things in chiropractic, and I'm picking on them because a lot of that is those are barriers. I'm going to tell you what to do, but I'm also not going to do it myself because I don't need to. All the work I do with people, I also do for myself. And doing this in the morning, I think, is very important just with us all together to get grounded. I've been waiting to get you back in here. This is a talk sort of we've done over and over again in different ways, but I think it's a very, very powerful one for ourselves. Because once we clear away the layers of stuff that we've packed on to cloud our view of the self to other people is what it really is. The clearer we are to serve, life transforms, the more ease we are in, the less of the quagmire of stuff we have to dredge through in life, just where we think we're going to get normalcy, but really it's a big ocean we'll keep swimming through. The lighter we make the heart, the more we get in touch with the self. What did I say before? Of really getting in touch with those wounds. It's not always fun to relive them, but we realize I'm using this vocabulary because at some point maybe someone used it for me, or I used it to defend myself in the past. Is it truly honoring for me now? Is it honoring for other people? And let me tell you, I've got a lot of them. I'm constantly working on them, and it's not easy. And this isn't a psychiatrist's office, okay? But these are things that it's very important. We don't have to spend all day in asking people to relive their horrible experiences. With that adjustment, very often, the innate spirit, that spirit within us created by God, knows exactly how to integrate emotion. If we're physical, chemical, and emotional stress that cause subluxations, we adjust that subluxation. That spirit knows, in that individual, knows what to do to integrate that energy. There are a lot of tonal techniques, network, BGI, integrating these experiences, becoming part of us. Not necessarily to relive them, but to integrate that into the I am. Not separate things. And I always, when we talk about, I got a pain in my back, my elbows hurt, whatever it isn't separate from me. It's a part of me. When we were talking about, my achy elbows today, because I'm saying it's adjusting because we're in an adjusting moment. But in reality, what I'm really thinking about is serving. My ability to receive and also give. And when I'm stuck in receiving and giving, it gets stuck in those areas, my elbows and my wrists. My pisiform hurts today. One of the most important things I use for serving. Am I a little stuck myself? Yeah. when I sit and think about what do I have to do within myself to release that, I've got to spend a little time in my own meditation, my own thought patterns. This isn't separate from me. It's not happening to me. It's happening with me. It's part of myself, of the I am. So as we integrate it, we did some adjusting on some things like that. But now this is the big part, really, of talking for myself out loud. So I can also hear it myself, but I can also understand it. When I first bought my building in downtown, there was no driveway there, and literally the building was sinking into the ground. And I couldn't extend my lease on my first office, and they said I couldn't extend it anymore. They said we can't do it anymore. My wrists were like flippers. My arms were. I felt literally like a seal. I could barely adjust. Arno fortunately showed us how to adjust with our elbows. I adjusted with my elbows. Sometimes I adjusted with my entire forearm because my elbows hurt too. But I could just focus my energy and adjust from other bones than my pisiform. It was a very interesting time. When I went down with the concrete guys that were going to lay the concrete, I said, and they all had actually just gotten out of prison. And this guy, they were big concrete guys. And I said, let's go down to the city hall and let's go to the engineering department and talk to them about this permit so we can get it done. So all these guys were 6'6" plus. I mean, they're giant men. And I'm in the middle of a bench seat with four of us sitting in the front seat of a pickup truck. It was probably a very funny sight. And I probably looked like a little kid compared to them. But my flipper arms, I couldn't move. I couldn't drive. That's why they had to drive. I forgot that part. We went down to the engineering department, and I said, I need to have this permit for this concrete. I need it now. And the guy reached into a pile, literally the length of his arms, lifted it up, and mine was right there. It was just a divine act of God. Literally an arm's length of paperwork to go through. He went through, picked it up, and mine was right there. It was divinely perfect. Literally, the guy his knees buckled himself. He said, oh my goodness gracious, I found it! And signed off it immediately. Just signed off. He was the engineer. Whammo, signed it off. My wrists, I felt like a wisp of air through my wrists. I could move again. And one of the concrete guys started to cry. Mm-hmm. He just realized, because they asked me before, he said, why don't you take a pill? I'm not even going to advertise those pills. And I said, if I take that, I'd set that probably deeper into my joints and end up with arthritis or something, because that energy will sit there. So I talked about the spiritual energy of why this was happening in my arms and elbows and wrists. And once that happened, I could move them again, and they felt lighter. I was sitting upstairs at my place, and I heard the splatter of concrete, and it all went away as soon as I heard that splatter, like it never existed. I could move my arms like it never happened. It was truly one of the most important experiences of my life, that I realized most of the stuff I go through and people go through is what? Emotional. Spiritual as well. The physical stuff is the small thing. The spiritual stuff is the big stuff. And when that starts and begins to change within ourselves and then the people we serve, what do? Hey, I just want to be here. Your energy is so amazing. I can't believe the changes happened in my life. I'm bringing my wife. I'm bringing my kids. All my neighbors come. And you know what? They start paying before they even had an exam. I heard you've got that, and I just want to join the club. It happens. Limitless. Exactly. You're exactly on target. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So let's live limitless today. You've got the word of the day, not fallacious.
Not fallacious.
Maybe high five on that one. But I like fallacious. I'm going to look it up.
I was going to look it up too.
Palace-like, I think. Let's see what happens. But limitless. Let's be absolutely limitless today with love. Mm-hmm. We're going to flood. Let's just close our eyes a moment and just flood this office, this town. We're going to flood it with love. It's just coming out of every pore of my being. of your being, of everyone is around us, just filled with love. Every molecule is love. Every molecule of wood in this building, concrete, glass, whatever construction materials, everything is filled with love. The air is filled with love. It's going out to our entire neighborhood. Everyone around us is filled with love. The streets are filled with love. It's rolling down the street like a wave, in the air into heaven, through the ground to the core of the earth, through all the houses, the streets, the trees. The people are filled with love all around us. They're coming into our office. They want what we have. We can help them transform. We are the puzzle piece that they've been missing. We are love. We are loved. We are love. We're sharing our love. A candle is brighter when one candle lights a second candle and a third candle and a fourth candle. They share that light and energy and we get stronger. All around us is love. I love myself. I love you. I love everyone. I love the earth. I love the heavens. I love the animals. I am love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Let's take 3 sweeping breaths and come back. Oh, that was good. God bless you. Wonderful morning. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right? Thank you for listening to this episode of Innate Express Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share with your friends. Together we can change the world.